Hey guys, in today's video I've got an Aferiy P180 Power Bank. This is a 1000 watt hour with an 1800 watt inverter. Pretty excited about this. This is one of the better budget options that I've found. I come from a background where I've used mostly Anchors, and this should be pretty comparable for a little bit less. So let's go ahead and check it all out. We'll see how it's packaged, and I'll show you guys some of the features, point everything out, let you guys get a good look at what you're looking at. So first we're going to do a quick unboxing, just see what comes included with it. So it comes with possibly a cover. We've got this, we'll open this up. Instruction manual. I will say that everything seems very well packaged inside. I highly doubt that there will be any damage that occurs to this if you purchase one. Alright guys, so this is everything that came with laid out on the table here. It comes with a bag that you can cover it up with. I don't know that that's the best to use it covered up actively because things get warm in here. It may run the fan, but it's nice to include it, especially if you're going to keep this in a vehicle. You can try and keep the dust or debris or anything out of it when you're not using it. It also comes with an AC charging cord, and then it comes with an XT60 with solar inputs. So a lot of solar panels have these connectors on them, and they just plug right into a solar panel, and then you can charge it via solar panel. So looking at the front here, we do have an LCD display. We've got a light, a car charger. We've got two different barrel DC ports, two USB-Cs, and then two USB-As, and then a button to turn it on and off, and a button to turn the lights on. So let's go ahead and power this up. This will be the first time I've powered it on. Alright, so it comes 27% charged. It's got a nice little screen here. What we'll do is we'll pull the camera in so you guys can see this all a little better. So here's a little better look at the front. You've got an output and an input. So your output is how much you are powering a device, and your input is how much power you're pulling from a different source to charge this. We've got a button here for the light. We've got USB on and off button and your DC car charger type button. So you can control all these individually. And then your light will go through an on, a flashing, and then an SOS mode. And then these just turn like your USBs on. Same thing for your cigarette charger. And then we'll flip around to the back, and that's where all of your AC ports will be. So on the back here, we've got four 120 volt AC ports. And we've got a switch here to where you can switch it from 500 watts to 1000 watts. This is a pure sine wave inverter, so you can run sensitive electronics off of it, such as a TV or a computer. It also acts as a UPS, which is an uninterrupted power supply. Now we flip open this little lid here, and we've got an XT60 connector along with an AC charger. This thing can accept up to 1000 watts on the AC and 500 watts on the XT60, not to exceed 55 volts. 55 volts is the cutoff. You can over panel as far as charging more than 500 watts, but you cannot go above 55 volts. You'll only ever pull 500 watts in on it, but if you overvolt it, you will harm the machine. So I have not charged this yet, and I have not depleted it, but they do claim that this will take about an hour and a half or so charging via AC with the cord that they include. But you can also charge it with AC and solar or a different XT60 input, which that could reduce your time down to about 90 minutes or so, or a little bit less. An hour and a half is 90 minutes, but I think they call for 1.3 hours. I do like that it's got nice convenient handles built in. You can grab it by one side, lift it up. This thing weighs about 20 pounds. It also measures out to be about a little over 8 inches wide and about 13.5 inches deep. So it's a pretty small package. It's compact. On the sides here, we've got our fans, which I have heard them run when I turn the machine on. And it does seem to auto shut down after some time of not being used. I'm going to explore and see if that is configurable, because in some cases that can be a little annoying, especially if you're running something intermittently, such as a refrigerator that only uses power so often. But they may have a safety feature to where when one of these is clicked on, it will not shut down like that. I'm not certain. I'm going to do a little bit of research and get back to you. So this switch here allows you to change the input wattage from 500 to 1000. So this will allow you to charge it faster, but the slow charge will hopefully allow for better cell life. These cells are rated for over 3,000 or 4,000 cycles, which, I mean, if you use it every day, that's over 3 years. So here in a minute, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. We'll charge it up. Like I said, we're at about 27%. I'll grab a phone and start a timer, and you guys can see when it actually finishes. All right, guys, we're going to turn this on, and we're going to charge it up from whatever the 20-some% that it's at to 100. And I'm going to go ahead and timer it. And then let's go ahead and plug this guy in. Then you heard it beep again. I heard the fans kick for a second. And if we look here, our input watts are going to start going up. So we're currently charging at 108 input watts. For some reason that's low. That may be due to the battery being only 26%, and that may ramp as we go. So this is because the BMS just regulates how quickly it charges when it's cold. So once it warmed up, it took off. And if we look down here, it's actually got a timer that tells you about how many minutes. So I'm going to check back in a little while. So I'm going to cut a little bit of this out so you don't have to watch it go from basically 0 to 100. And also, while this was charging, I went ahead and downloaded the application onto my phone, synced it all, and then I was able to change the screen settings to where it takes a longer time to time out. That way we could actually watch these tests in the future. And then I just wanted to point out that a lot of lithium-ion batteries will charge slowly at like 0 to 20 and then slower at 80 to 100. And you could see that real time here. There was one point where it was pulling in 1,000 watts, and then as it got closer to 100, it started reducing the amount of watts. So that is for battery life cycle and health going forward. All right, guys, we hit 100% at right at an hour, actually, almost exactly. So this makes logical sense that we had 75%, so it would have taken another 30 minutes or so, which lines up exactly about what they said for the charging time. All right, guys, so now I've grabbed my Set Power RF21, just kind of giving you a comparison. The Set Power is quite a bit bigger. We're also going to plug it in. So something else I wanted to bring up is that you can download an application. It's in the Google Store. It's called Bright EMS, and that allows you to sync up with the power station. So I've already done that in my case, and you can see here that it is plugged in. So in a way, it's going to be operating as a UPS, or I believe they actually call it an EPS, but it doesn't really matter. Same thing. And within here, you can change all kinds of different settings. You can go in and change the key sounds. You can do a remote shutdown if you wanted for a time event. So when you turn that on, it says the device is charging. It cannot be shut down remotely, whatever. I don't actually want to do that. I just wanted to show you. You can do energy management, set it to where it will discharge to a certain amount and then charge, or you can set it up to where it will only discharge in EPS mode to a certain amount. There's standby time, screen shutdown. So actually what I did about halfway through was I changed it to the 30-minute screen shutdown. That way you could see the charging while it was actually going. There's a lot of different settings you can do in here. You can also connect it to Wi-Fi and allow it to update and things like that as they need. And you can also remotely monitor this while it's connected to Wi-Fi. If you're at work, you can check on it if you're powering something. So right now I've actually got my Set Power plugged in. And we're going to click this button here on to turn the DC on. And as you can see, the Set Power lights up. So the Set Power is now turned on. We're going to go ahead and let this cool down just to verify that it actually works with you guys. You'll be able to watch it. Once it actually starts kicking, you can see the output turn up. It's currently set to max, so it'll use a little more power than normal. The compressor just kicked on, and we can see here that it's pulling 28 watts. And then, as with the charging, it's got a countdown of how long it will last. So right now it's saying only 28 hours. I know it'll last longer than that. Once this cools down, it will not run as much. And you can also click it over to Eco mode, and this has got a much smaller power draw at that point. So actually, the reason why I got interested in these power stations to begin with is because of a portable refrigerator. I picked up a portable refrigerator for camping, and it has kind of changed the way I camp altogether. They allow you to have frozen food in some cases. This one is a freezer and or a refrigerator. It's only a single zone. I've got a much larger one in my truck that's mounted on whole battery system, but these are kind of the gateway to that. These are a much more affordable, easier to use system. You don't have to actually permanently modify anything for your vehicle to run one of these, and I think they're a great solution for a lot of people. You can also charge your cell phone, all your devices, and potentially run a heating pad, blanket. You could run an induction stove, potentially even an air conditioning or something like that, if depending on the type of camping you want to do. Not only that, they have a lot of uses outside of camping. You can use them to run a computer, as you see in the background. You could just keep it plugged into the wall, keep the computer plugged into it, and say you ever have power outages or anything like that, it'll automatically pick up, keep the computer alive. And in some cases, some sensitive electronics really don't like having power go up and down. It can also protect from power surges, things like that. And in this configuration I have it plugged into right now, it is actually acting as an UPS. So once you'll see this battery drop down a little bit eventually, and it'll actually recharge to keep it topped off. I think that's pretty cool. It allows you to constantly maintain a battery state of charge that's ready to go for, unforeseen events. But then if you ever do get that power outage, it'll pick up whatever you're plugged into automatically. You could also have refrigerators powered on like this. Now a battery station this size will probably only run a full-size refrigerator for a day or two. I know I did a test similar, and I could probably do it with this if I wanted to on my freezer, and it'll run a freezer for like about 18 hours or so. Alright guys, I purchased this little voltage meter here, and this will allow me to discharge the battery pack, and you can see it's not plugged in, and actually see how many watt hours we get out of it, and then we will be able to calculate the efficiency of this running through the inverter. A pretty standard one, if you watch other channels, seems to be around 80 to 85% is pretty standard. I'm going to go ahead and get this configured. I've got a radiant oil heater that I'm going to plug into it. We're going to let it run, and we'll check back once it's finished. I just wanted to give you guys a better look at this. We haven't plugged anything in yet. What it is showing is 120 volts, and it's pretty steady, which is a good thing. Some non-pure sine inverters are not a steady, clean 120 volts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click it over to the kilowatts. But actually, we'll just plug it in and roll through all the different settings. Let's see what we get out of it. Okay, so off the bat, we've got a timer that's starting, and we've got pulling currently 1400 watts. Let's jump over here. We're ticking up, and this is a 100% charged power bank. Yeah, so the power bank says we're pulling 1420 watts right now. Why don't we check this out? $600. So I'm not sure where the discrepancy is. Maybe this thing's warming up, and oh, that's the low. That's the high. So yeah, 1416. 1415. So they are reading the same, which is a good thing. It means the tracking software in this and the algorithms and everything is accurate. I'm going to go ahead and throw this camera on a charger, and then we're going to walk away from it. Let's get a prediction on how long this will take to discharge at this rate. So this is calling for 30 minutes. Now my guess what will happen with this heater is the heater will get warm and then stop pulling this amount of draw. But I guess we'll find out. So let's go ahead and just give it some time. I think I'm going to go ahead and peel the protector off of here if I haven't already. Yeah, let's peel this off. See if this makes it a little bit more possible to read on the camera. Yeah, you can see the 1400 watts on it. So we'll check back in about a half an hour. This thing actually just got warm enough to where it kicked the fans on, which is the first time it's done that in a while. It did do that while it was charging, but this is the first time while discharging it that it actually did this. And then just like I had predicted, the heater did in fact heat up, shut off for a little while, and then heat up, and then shut off for a while and go through cycles like that. So it took a little bit longer than 30 minutes to be able to fully discharge it, but we got her done. Alright guys, so we just hit 9%, 10% on this thing, or on the front. Let's see where we're at as far as power goes. So we used 0.7 kilowatts. So this power station actually does have like a 10% warning, which is why I came in and checked on it. And as you can see there, it had been running for 29 minutes and 55 seconds, and then we can continue to let it discharge all the way down to 0. Alright guys, we have completely exhausted it. Let's hope this has some sort of memory function. Let me see if I can turn this on at all. Alright, just to show you, we have reached 0%. And now we're going to go ahead and plug this thing back in. And hopefully this power meter kicks on. If it doesn't, hopefully I can look at the camera to see where we were at. Alright. Click the inverter back on. Okay. So we were at 35 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heater off so that way it's kind of scientific and we don't lose wasted data. Alright, so we're going to go to the functions. So we've used 0.842 kilowatts. So that equates to 842 watt hours, which means that this is about, 84% efficient, which is pretty good. That's along the upper end of kind of a normal spectrum. And you also are losing some power by running the inverter itself. If you were to do this all based on DC appliances, you would do better. And you also have to remember that there is some reserve in the batteries. These are not going to completely drain the batteries because they have some protections in there, because when you completely drain a lithium-ion cell, you lose longevity and it may not even come back altogether. That's something a lot of RC guys have experienced firsthand. I know I have. So, with having done that test, we are now going to recharge this from essentially 0. It does have 2% because I plugged it in just to get it to come back on and be able to use the inverter so that we could get our readings off of the machine. We're going to go ahead and plug this back in, and here in a minute I'm going to grab my other phone and set a timer, and we'll see how long this takes. So, better than a phone, I grabbed a tablet, and we're going to go ahead and plug this in. Remember, we're starting at 2%, basically completely dead, not quite, and we'll check back later and see how long this takes to charge. Alright, so we have 96% charge at about an hour and 17 minutes, and it says it's still got about 12 minutes to go. So by those calculations, it will be 2% to 100 in about an hour and a half, which is exactly what they called for. So I think that's pretty impressive that they're right on the dot. So I was out of the room while doing this. We were trying to socialize my girlfriend's dogs to my cats. But either way, this thing does reach 100% and stop pulling anything right at about an hour and a half, which is exactly what they called for. So their information is accurate as far as the charging goes. Alright guys, this did finish charging at some point while I was in the other room. What I will say is that I'm actually very impressed that their charge times are 100% accurate. I have encountered quite a few other power banks that kind of claim a really quick recharge time but don't actually deliver. And I'm not going to say that Aferiy even claims a really fast recharge time, but the time that they claim is 100% accurate, which I think is impressive. And with that being said, you could charge even faster if you were on solar as well. Right now it's about 10 o'clock, so obviously there's no solar here. But yeah, so that's a quick overview of the Aferiy P180. I'm honestly pretty impressed with it. It seems to deliver exactly what they claim. It's a very affordable option, and I think this will do great for any campers or van lifers or overlanders, anything like that. And you can also use it around the house as a backup UPS, which is what this unit will probably go to, is to be the dedicated backup UPS for my computer. I think it serves great. And what I really like about it specifically is that all the AC stuff is in the back and your DC stuff is in the front. So when you have this sitting on your desk or below your desk, you can route all your AC stuff to the back of it, and then you have the front nice and clean and neat for you to be able to charge DC, things like that. Well guys, if you made it this far into the video, I would like to thank you for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, commenting your thoughts below, subscribing to my page, and I also have a membership. If you like seeing things like this, please feel free to check that out. Once again, thank you for watching and have a great day.